It's a pleasure to be here and welcome to my garden here at Claremont, St. Michael. This garden, which I started about just over 5 years ago, is in fact a place of peace and tranquility for me where I come and get my exercise, but I also produce green organic food. And that food is not only of plant origin, because here in this place I also have fish and I have rabbits. I believe that everyone in Barbados should produce some of their own food. We cannot produce all, but we can produce some of our own food, especially the fresh fruits and vegetables. And consequently, the quality of your food is fresh, available, and directly from the garden to the kitchen. And this makes a difference in terms of the vitamin content, in terms of the nutrient content, lack of pesticides, and the freshness that you get from producing your own food. Producing your own food is also therapeutic in the sense that you get to relax, you get to interact with nature, and you see the products of your efforts. Well, there are two substantial benefits you get from a financial point of view of having a garden. First of all, you reduce your bill at the supermarket. You spend less buying the fruits and vegetables that you can produce. And being healthy reduces your medical bill. You don't have to go to the doctor as often. And when you do go, you do not have a significant amount of chronic non-communicable diseases, which is something that in Barbados we need to control by eating more fresh fruits and vegetables. And exercise. In having a garden, you get both. My garden is a little bit of everything. It is about producing food in small spaces. How can you take a small area and produce some of the things that you eat? Here, for example, I have 5 rabbits. This is my herb garden where I produce almost all the herbs I need for the kitchen, my broadleaf thyme, my lemon balm, marjoram. They call this Guyanese thyme or Guyanese herb, Cuban oregano, Chinese chive, mint, fine leaf thyme. I can come here at any point in time and get the basic things that I need for the kitchen. So this is my herb garden. And on this side, of course, I have my rabbits. I have sweet potatoes growing in 5-gallon buckets. And this is something that I've worked on here, and it works. Instead of having it in the soil, you put the soil in a 5-gallon bucket, and I have sweet potato growing here. Over here I have some beans coming. Beans are particularly good in the garden because they bring nutrients to the soil. All leguminous plants they capture nitrogen from the air and convert it into nitrates. So they're good as part of a rotation system that allows you to enrich the soil. So you have here some beans. I have a couple of cabbages which are not doing too well, but I will still get something to eat out of them. And of course, I have a little bit of tomatoes. And there's some Chinese cabbage in between. Intercropping, they call it. And over here, I have some peppers, and I have yams. There's a variety of yam I got from St. Philip. A friend of mine gave me some yams and cut off the heads and planted them, and they're growing very well. I hope late in the year to get some yams out of here. In that corner, I have something that's not very common in Barbados, that's dasheen. It is very common in Trinidad. They use it to make the callaloo, and I'm just growing it there in that container. So I just put it in there and give it some water, and I have enough dasheen there to make my callaloo. You see I have a bay leaf tree there, so I can also come down and get a bay leaf when I need it. We have a little bit of everything here. This method is one that I have perfected over time to deal with the remains and the excess material from the kitchen. As you know, when you cook, you get a lot of peel, you get eggshells, you get tea bags. There is quite a bit coming out of the kitchen, which you have to dispose of. Most people put it into the garbage. Here we don't. I have two methods of dealing with waste, kitchen waste. One I call the rapid composting method, and I will show you how that works. Here in this bucket, I have the refuse from the kitchen, and you will see the banana peel, eggshells, and all the other things that is normal from the kitchen, onion waste, etc. I place all of this into a blender, an old blender that I got from my wife. All of this is refuse from the kitchen, pawpaw skins, banana peels, all of this I just place into this blender, and then I add water to it. Having placed that water, then cover it down, and then I apply the electricity to blend it. So I make a puree, like a soup. Once it is blended like that, I then turn off the machine, and I take this and I pour it into a 5-gallon bucket, which is half filled with soil. That puree then remains covered, no flies, and over time the liquid seeps through the soil, is collected by a pipe which I attach to the bottom of the bucket, and the liquid goes to feed, in this case, a rosemary plant. And you can see how lovely the plant is growing as a result of the liquid that is obtained by the process. You can see the liquid dripping into the plant. If you take this up, you'll see the drops of liquid coming out. This liquid fertilizes the plant, keeps it moist, keeps the roots active, and the plant continues to grow. There are no flies, no odors. All you have to do when you're finished, wash out your blender, and that's the end of that story. After a couple of weeks, maybe a month, you take this bucket, you take it into your garden, empty that into your garden beds, and you start all over again with another half bucket of usually soil mix. I started getting involved in aquaponics some years ago, about 5 years ago, seeking to grow fish and vegetables together, knowing that the nutrients produced by the fish will be good for the plants. Fish produce ammonia and urea. That ammonia and urea can be broken down by nitrifying bacteria that convert those chemicals into nitrate, which is the form of nitrogen that plants love. I wanted to look at a smaller system that I could introduce to the average person with limited space. And I built this out of wood. If you come closer, you can see the same principle. The tilapia fish in this tank, they produce the excrement of urea and ammonia, and the water takes it into this other tank. This is a submergible pump. In this case, you can see it there. That works all the time. There's a filter where the water comes through a filter in order to remove the solid. It then goes through here and is pumped up through here to these pipes. This is spinach, and you can see how it's growing. Here are the roots of a spinach plant growing in water. It lends itself to the person who lives in an apartment who has little space but would like to do something in agriculture. You don't have to have an acre of land to grow something. Using a model such as this, you can still produce some fresh vegetables, and I can grow kale, spinach, lettuce, any of the green vegetables can be grown in this system. In fact, it may sound strange that the activity of my garden here pays my land tax. The savings. Grow Green Barbados.